WMC Memphis, WMFS HD2 Bartlett Memphis, ESPN 790 AM with Colin Coward and The Herd, weekday mornings from 9 a.m. till noon.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me. Where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Make some time, take a family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gaston's White River Resort, and Barton Power Sports. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Make some music, guys. Here we go back here. All right, here we go. Listen to all that. Oh, I love this. Oh, we're talking turkey on Outdoors with Larry Ray on this March the 21st, Saturday, and I don't think we can have anybody else on the show besides this guy who has been talking turkey for a long time, and people actually understand him, you know, and everything, and I appreciate him being on with us. One of Outdoors with Larry Ray's favorite guests, and that's our good friend Preston Pittman from down there in West Point, Mississippi. Good morning, Preston. There he goes. There he goes. There you go. Hold it. I got to answer you back here, buddy. So
I'm on my way. I need to get my tree and get set up right now.
Hey, this is a guy that was born on Thanksgiving, so he's got to be a turkey hunter, right? And
no, I wasn't born. I was hatched.
You was hatched.
1953 when I thought that my mom and the baby doctor grabbed me by the hind legs and spanked me on the hiney. Is what I did instead of crying.
I knew that. That was coming and everything, but. Preston, I know, buddy, that this is in your blood. You won your first turkey championship, calling championship when you were a teenager. You had asthma, and you had all these other different things that were happening to you, and never in your wildest dream think you would be where you are today. But we talked to Billy Yargis early in the show about the recent grand championship and about having the judge changes where the judges were actually looking at the competitors. Tell my listeners how that went for you. Being a judge at it.
I tell you what, I have not competed in 10, 15, 16 years, and when it got ready to start the contest, those old flutters that come up in your heart when you're fixing to step up on the stage and compete for the highest title that there is in the country, Bubba, it come back again. I absolutely loved it.
And he did, too. He said he was a little nervous about it and everything because anything – change is kind of different, but looking at you and looking at the other judges right there, you liked it then?
No, sir, I didn't like it. I loved it. and let me tell you what it does, especially when you reach that caliber and that caliber of callers. Were we actually looking at them? I don't think there was a judge on the panel that once they stepped out and started their calling, we all went in our little, I call it my zone, where I'm concentrating on one thing and one thing only, and that is sound.
Uh-huh.
It was enjoyable, and if you think that the callers were under a pressure, really the judges were the ones that were under as much pressure as the callers were, because we had to, two out of the five had to critique. So we had to really, really, really concentrate, try to pick out any little flaw that we possibly could find and be able to explain why we scored, the caller, what we scored them for.
Yes, yeah.
I think it not only is it something new, but I think it's something exciting. I think it brings the crowd back into it. I think it'll bring the sponsors back into it. So I think it's a win-win-win for everybody concerned, not only the competitors, but also for the audience out there going, I wonder why that judge scored, Billy or Matt or whoever it may be, why they scored them. And so it's educational on top of it. That's the beauty of it. So my hat is off to the NWTF and Chris for having the gumption and the bravery to step up and do a little bit of change and do something that we've been needing for a long time.
And and Preston's, of course, referring to Chris Peltz, the NWTF and the event coordinator. But did you guys, Chris Parrish, Brad Taylor, Steve Stoltz, and Mike Batty, did y'all get together and when you went into this thing being a judge, because it was so different and so unique for this event? Did y'all kind of huddle beforehand and say how we're going to do this and things along that line?
This was 2 years in planning.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. This was 2 years in planning. We stayed in contact with each other via email with Chris, coordinating it.
Mm-hmm.
Then right before the contest, basically, this is the way that we as judges were instructed. All of these competitors up here are champions.
Yes. Yeah.
All you can do is call it the way that you call it. We want criticism so that the crowd can learn, not only be entertained, but learn from y'all and from the callers. But, of course, we don't want anybody belittled, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was handled – the only criticism that I had, and nobody thought about it, is that when, for example, number one caller is calling, the rest of the guys and gals should not be able to hear the critiquing from the judges. And I agree with that, and I'm sure that will be enacted next year. But we didn't think about it.
This is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time. And we're talking to Preston Pittman, and all right, enough serious talk. Let's talk about, let's get back to the real sport that we want to talk about, because this is a guy that's, I don't know, you've been on Regis and Kelly, and you've been on Country Fried Videos and Letterman and all these different kind of things. And somebody said you were on the Versus. You were in an advertisement, too. So tell my listeners, Preston, as you can, and that's what we're talking about, turkey hunting. I know we don't have enough time to tell everybody this guy's history, because never in your – what did Preston Pittman want to be when he was growing up?
A farmer or a game warden.
A farmer or a game warden. All right. Never thinking this is what you would be.
No. I mean, everybody had the dream. Now, I hope you're sitting down, because do you know what I did for 17 years of my life?
Yes, I do, but you tell the listeners out there.
I was a licensed cosmetologist.
There you go. Yeah.
But it wasn't one of them kind, okay?
Yeah. Nothing against that.
Is that why you walk so light in the woods?
Yeah, that's why he walks so light in the woods. Yeah.
I had a little thing called dyslexia, which is where words and letters, flip around and go crazy on you.
Yeah.
And everybody thought that I was a dumb you-know-what, and I just couldn't read. I couldn't figure things out, and nobody knew what it was back then. And, always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, God, I wish I could do something in the hunting and fishing industry, because I love it so much. Now, I don't know whether this is a blessing or a curse, because I hunt and fish less now than I ever did whenever I was a kid. But I do have a message, if I may, for the youngins, as we call them down here, are the kids growing up.
Yeah.
Don't ever give up a dream.
Yes. Yeah.
This is still the greatest country, thanks to our military who's out there protecting us right now, and God be with them. This is the greatest country that there is in the whole world. So never give up a dream. Get your education, and at the same time, please work for a small businessman or a small businesswoman and find out what work is really about. Mm-hmm. The garbage can's got to be empty, the floor's got to be swept, that old toilet's got to be scrubbed out. So a great education with some good practical experience I wish I'd have had the education part, and I
Yeah.
didn't have it.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed. I really am. I'm blessed.
Well, Preston, we're talking to Preston Pittman, and I always like what Preston always said. After all, our saying is from the backwoods to the top of the world. And you
Yes,
really
sir.
you believe that, I know. And
I believe that, and I know this might be a little bit gross, and some of your listeners might not like it, but I still like to shoot them in the face.
yes, that's all. My listeners are in on that. I mean,
Okay.
my listeners are in on that. Now, there might have been somebody just drove off the road down here in Mississippi, North Mississippi, and said, "Did he say that again? Let's let's repeat that again." No. So, what's ahead for Preston in 2015? I know you're a busy guy. What you got down the road here, buddy?
Okay. I've already been in the woods for a week.
Okay.
It's a very, very slow, and I do mean slow start.
Yeah.
Birds are still grouped up, and I can pretty well tell you wherever anybody who is listening to this, whether it be Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, or upstate New York, you can look for a slow beginning in the first part of your season.
Mm-hmm.
Birds are still grouped up. They are doing a little bit of gobbling, but I'm still finding groups of gobblers running together. The next stage will be they will start a little bit more of the bust, and they will be completely and totally henned up. So it's looking to be a good, long season come the last day of the season. I will be with writers starting this afternoon through the Mississippi Tourism, then the Tennessee Governor's Hunt, the Kansas Governor's Hunt. Heck, I have to stop and think where all I am going to be.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
But basically, it's business, and I'll be doing a lot of filming with Mojo Outdoors this year.
Well, make sure that you stop and get your hair fixed and everything, get everything.
I ain't got to worry about it. I ain't got nothing no more.
I know. Hey, buddy, thank you, Preston Pittman, for being on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Got a lot of fans up here. We appreciate your what you've done and what you're going to do, and you're still just a pup to me, okay?
I understand. I'm just a Mississippi redneck and proud to be one.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. Let's go out. Let's get a little music for Preston here. All right, Preston. See you later.
All right, Doug.
Thank you. All right, Preston Pittman. All right, guys. All right. Man, is anybody bored this morning? Are you bored? Anybody want to leave the room now and not come back? Good, because we got it locked anyway, so you can't do it. All right. Greg Ratcliffe is our show open. Preston Pittman, Bill Cooksey is a one of a kind.
Oh, he's on point all the time.
He is, isn't he?
All the time.
I wanted you to hear that. And I want him to tell.
I watched him herd hens on the street in Las Vegas on the sidewalk. And when I say hens, they were our type of hens, blondes, brunettes, that sort of thing. I mean, he went into full strut on a sidewalk and started herding those hens just like a gobbler would.
Yeah, if anybody's seen him strut, he brought the word strut into it, because he looks like it. But I want him to tell what his, first life was. I mean, and he had to say it. I didn't want to.
For his striker, he used to use a comb that was polished off on the end, and he used that as a striker on his friction calls.
Well, I wanted to get Harold Knight on with us this morning because Harold's a good friend of mine, and he started with a blade of grass. That's the way he started, and he's an old barber. So he and Harold and Pittman can get together, but David and Harold have a rough life now. They just got to travel around and be night and hail. So
the guy in St. Stephen's, Alabama, that called him with a.
Get on your microphone. We can't hear you over there.
I said I hunted with a guy in St. Stephen's, Alabama, that called him with a bay leaf.
With a bay leaf.
And he can call better than anybody in here.
Once again, we just shot down everybody y'all that make calls in here. Again, Steve Turpin is over here moaning, right now. Let's take a break, come right back, and hope we can get Alec Rutledge. He's hog hunting in Texas to wrap up this wonderful show on Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. All right, guys, hit it.